historical gamer is no more. He was shuffled off in the Grand Maelstrom, that is the political sphere of the Grand Republic, or possibly Empire. Who knows, we are waiting for a new Napoleon to rise and take the helm. So, he was, honorably deported to a small island somewhere out in the Grand Oceans out there. Sounds a little bit similar to somebody else, but hey, at least he wasn't eaten alive by bears. So, hello there, guys. It's been a while. I know a lot of you guys did not approve of my last reign, so hey, it's brilliant to be back again. So I was left with a little list of things to do. So basically, from Mr. Tortugapower himself, the THG 2 class needs upgraded 17-inch guns. All our ships, except your namesake, shake it like a polite picture, needs upgraded to the advanced director. Okay. Right. So, the Royal Navy has apparently been much diminished, and I can see that. 10 dreadnoughts, that is absolutely despicable for a bloody Royal Navy. Hardly a man's navy in there. And the USA, looking decent over there at 25 dreadnoughts. Though they are really old. They are building a rather large amount of them, I do have to say. That is somewhat terrifying. Okay. So there. Latest design in New Mexico. 23 knots, 35,700 tons, 10 15-inch guns, 25-inch guns, 2 torpedoes. We don't know her deck armor. Right, so it seems that we have different classes being built here. We have the Arkansas at 33,600 tons, we have the Minnesota, we have 2 Utahs apparently, because, oh, sorry, the Utah and the Delaware. This seems to be the largest, 34,600 tons. We have no intelligence on that, so we'll have to take it as it comes then. So, we're looking fairly decent in terms of the administration of the Grand Empire. Do we have oil? We do not have oil. That's a shame. That's a shame. So it seems that the Italians were roundly beaten by the historical gamer. He did very well there. Did leave him in a good situation. Right, so let's take a look at the actual force disposition that we do possess here. So we have 8 dreadnoughts, 1 being built. We have 5 battlecruisers, 3 being built. No heavy cruisers. We have 13 light cruisers. We have 33 destroyers. Which is, actually, it's not too bad, but it's lower than the United States over there. And we're not exactly too bad on terms of light cruiser. We're about comparable. But I have an idea. Might be a little bit mental. But basically, what the idea here is... Let's see. Right, so if I make this lower... Right, let me just put some guns on here. And then I can show you. Right, so auto-design that. And... There we go. A light cruiser must be larger than 2,000 tons, have a speed of at least 17 knots, and smaller than 8,000 tons. So... what my idea here is that we build large destroyers with the designation of light cruisers. It might be a little bit mental, but it might be possible. We could go for about, let's see, 2,600 tons would allow us to have these 6-inch guns. Do I need these? How much would it require us to have 7-inch guns? We would need, right, 5,000 displacement for 7-inch guns. Let's not do that then. So we could go with the 6 inches. The mighty 6 inches. The reason why I'm doing something like this design is the general idea that we can have something like a destroyer, but we can have something like a destroyer that's armored. Now that's something that you really don't get with the destroyers. They don't have that armor. Okay. It's a very heavy little ship. Okay. Let's get rid of that turret there. That helps things. trying to figure out how I could make this a viable opportunity. Right then, let's remove the turrets for now then. So we could have a forward and aft single turret, 6 inches. That still leaves us in a difficult situation. So we'll go with the 5 inches. So we could have some secondaries here, and we'll have them as casemate guns. Right, so we could have 10 4-inch guns there potentially. Belt could be reduced. Doesn't make too much of a difference. We could go with speed, which reduces weight quite a bit. We could go with low freeboard, which reduces weight even further. No. Too many. Right, ships with speed above 21 knots need normal freeboard. That's fair enough, so we'll go with normal. And we'll get rid of all these secondaries then, I believe. We do have a lot of torpedoes. That is true. Okay, let's reduce this to 4-inch guns. The ship is overweight, that is true. Okay. So obviously we do need a lot of torpedoes. But we might be able to achieve the same sort of thing by having larger torpedo mounts in the center. Right, centerline swivel, PNR. Still overweight. Let's reduce ammunition. Oh, sorry, that was caliber. Okay, we could reduce ammunition down a little bit. I could reduce speed. Okay. So that would leave us with a interesting design. Let's make this one a single. There we go. So that would leave us with the 14 class, which is a abomination to all that stands on this earth. But the thing is, it's a very, very small light cruiser. It should be very cheap. And the general idea is to use it as something of a armored torpedo boat. It doesn't have much armor, but it has enough to really withstand other destroyers, and that could give us an advantage. So let's see. Belt is too heavy. Right, we have no secondaries. I don't believe I can have them mounted. It's rather too heavy. We could have some mines placed on it. That's true. How about normal engines? No, that's too heavy. Okay. So we'd have the advanced director. So it'd have a decent range. I mean, they're only 4-inch guns. Let's not get crazy here. The issue with the 5-inch guns is I believe I need to have about 2600 displacement. We'll check. Actually, no. Does not seem to be, unless that might be due to the fact that I have the weight issues. There seems to be a bit of a bug here. Something like that anyway. Okay. Yeah, so see here. At 2400 tons we have 23 rate remaining. At 2300 tons we actually gain a little bit extra, which is rather interesting. And then again we gain a little bit here, so that's a very interesting little bug there. Right. Increased elevation. That does not affect the actual weight. This is a very, very absurd little design. So we're going to save that as a 4-bin. There we go. Now look how cheap this is. This is a very cheap ship. Obviously it's going to cost us a lot more to put this into action. I said that cost is actually rather high. Let's compare it with something else like the previous design ships. Obviously much higher design costs there. Okay. So we'll put her into production. Right, there we go, that's fairly cheap. We'll build a few more then. They're not cheap, very, very cheap. Indeed. We could have 10 of them being built. The general idea is to really build up our supporting fleet. We have a very small picket force, so if I can bring it into a new era and bring the general numbers up, then we can try to make something of it. We do of course need to rebuild quite a number of ships. The Marseille will be built, well, will be I think it's been rebuilt. Is it being rebuilt or is it being actually built? Either way, it'll be done soon. So let's take a look then at the map. So we control quite a decent amount of the map, which is pretty nice, not doing too badly. Could be doing better, of course, but hey. Right. These guys are on active fleet. These ships are very, very expensive. They are in fact huge, that would be why. So I could put you to reserve fleet, that would reduce the cost there. We do need these guys to continue their workup, obviously, as they're just about finished it seems. But the maintenance will be reduced, we need to make some money so we can increase the size of the navy. So reserve fleet for the main dreadnoughts. At least as many as we can manage. Okay. Right, we're still doing fine, we still have our commitments doing alright. Okay, reserve fleet. There we go. Rightio. You will be done very soon. We can have you resume that construction. Or not, apparently. We'll have to hold on then. Let's go return. So we have the 2-inch guns improved. That's fairly nice. 18-inch guns. That's a good thing to work from. Okay, the Marseille and the Lille. The game Alertois. The Italian government is interested in buying lightweight Scantolins. We shouldn't really be helping the Italians, but honestly, I need money. Right, now we're up to 15 million funds. That gives me something to work with. Okay, we're gonna have these designs being worked on. He's rightfully a national hero. Okay. So I'll put you on hold for the moment. There we go. 10 15-inch guns, 26-inch guns, 12.5 belt, 3-inch deck, that's pretty good. 15.5 turrets, really good actually, not a bad ship at all. Pretty nasty ship. Rather slow though, 24 knots. Okay. One of our cruisers has run aground on the shore of a minor nation while performing an illicit intelligence operation. They threaten to impound the ship. Right. We can afford a loss of prestige. Not bad, very similar design to the one we saw from the Italians. There we go. Enables a separate scouting force with heavy cruiser and battle cruiser. Very interesting. Okay, so we still have some funds coming in, which is quite nice. Let's take a look again at the almanac. So if we take a look then, we have no heavy cruisers. Total light cruiser tonnage is pretty good. Destroyer tonnage, not so good. We'll take a look at designing a true destroyer, just in case. The Forbin class is a experiment, something I've been considering for a while. It's just the fact that, you see here, it's about twice the weight, well, another 1,000 tons, on top of the bomb pilot class. What is the maximum weight that we have for destroyers? Okay, so it's only a few hundred tons more than the largest destroyer that we can produce. Okay. But I do not believe that they can even have any armor. Yep, see, they can't have any armor. Let's see. Can we mount the quads? We can. So we can have the 5-inch guns over here. Since though we seem to be able to mount the centerline, well, sorry, the dual guns, I should say. We might as well go with something like this. Can we mount this? Yes, we can. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make this a smaller ship. Okay. We'd have 2 tons remaining there. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. It's a decent ship. It does what it needs to do. Improved director. Shame. The EP. Or the EP. EP? Yeah. Either way, it could be put into service. I could make it shorter range and increase speed. Oh, actually, no, I can't seem to do that. So that's a mute question. Right. So we'll save that design. And we'll see about putting some into service. Can we afford to build 5? We can actually afford to do that. We're going to increase the size of the French Navy. It's a large ship. Okay, denounce the USA. Build up the budget. So we've had a large number of capital ships just come into service there, so that's pretty damn nice. Okay, they have been worked up for the time being. So put you to reserve fleet for now. That allows us to keep going with our construction program. I could resume construction there. Diesel generators. No, not the Austrians. Sashi. No. Okay, there we go. Reconstruction has been completed. Oh, I can't wait to see how they work out. Caesar class. Okay. That does leave us with some money to throw around, as we're going to wait for these other ships to enter, make him a national hero. There we go. Right. Yes, we shall buy that. That means I'm going to have to upgrade some certain ships, aren't I? Namely the Cosmo class. So let's see. Seems this one has been rebuilt. We will have to redo it again, so we'll open design for rebuild. Okay, my beautiful little ship, how are you doing today? Right, upgrade to more powerful. So let's just see here. Oops. Gun data. 14,850, penetration at 5,000 yards, 8.8. Let's increase these guns. Yeah, 9.7. That's a nice increase. That should make this class a hell of a lot deadlier. Replace machinery. Well, that saves us a lot of tonnage, actually. That saves us quite a lot of tonnage. Right, yo. I don't think I'd be able to... Can I clear these mounts? Right, advanced director. Okay. Ah. So I can't really do too much then. We'll just add all the torpedoes then. As before. All okay. Could have her changed over to an oil fire. Could increase her speed to 29 knots. Or do we keep it as it is and increase her abilities elsewhere? Right. Let's see, we could increase her turret armor. We sadly can't increase her belt armor. Okay, we could change her engines over. Overhaul them to normal engines so they're going to be more reliable. We could give her some mines, that's true. Let's say about increasing the, Well, the secondaries are casemate guns, so that's no need. Right. Can I increase the amount of secondaries? No. Can I add tertiaries? I can. So we could add a further 5 tertiary guns. That's rather impressive. Let's remove the aft torpedo launcher. Actually. And the forward. Torpedo mounts are not balanced, okay. Right, we could go for that. Could increase the amount of ammunition there too. So in general, we've we've overhauled her to be an absolute monster. So she's going to be armed with... my lord. This is insane. Save the rebuild. The 1931 design. Okay. Rebuild ships. Besides, okay, these ones have already been rebuilt. It's these ones that need to be rebuilt. To the 1931 design. 2 ships taken in for redesign. How about you? Can I... Right, I'm going to have to make a design edit there. We'll do that one in the future. So let's take a look then. The THG-2 needs to have her guns upgraded. Let's take a look. Open design for rebuild. Huge ship apparently, 43,000 tons, that's pretty nice. Can gain some weight back over there. So her guns need to be rebuilt. So 28.3. Upgrade them. Yeah, 31.2, that's going to make her vastly, vastly more deadly. Secondary gun caliber isn't too large. Secondaries aren't very well armoured either. We could increase this secondary armament. Well, armour, potentially. Rather, what we'll do then is we'll add some tertiary guns. So we can't have the 5 inches, so we'll have to go with a bunch of tertiaries. Tertiary 4 inches. Okay, advanced director. All okay here? Yep, there we go. Okay, so she's had her machinery overhauled. She's had 14 4-inch guns added to her repertoire of armament. She's had her director upgraded. Not a bad redesign. Put her in for it. Okay, we can't really afford to do that right now, so it's going to be quite difficult. So we'll have to put the terrible on hold for now. Only a short while, and then we'll be able to work on her. Okay, so in the meantime, we're going to take a look at designing our own new dreadnought. Let's see. So we have a local yard at 60,000 tons. Let's take a look at what we can design. Apparently only 52,000 tons. I remember this being the end game limit, basically. Let's see about something with 18-inch guns then, shall we? Something to make a statement. Bloody hell, I could afford that. That is insanity. Not much in the way of penetration, however, is there? Oh yeah, that's a real big difference there. We could have her with the 18-inch guns and then have her overhauled in the future. That is true. Right, 25,000 yards. It's not much of a big difference. So we'll keep the 18-inch guns and then they will be upgraded in the end. I'd imagine anyway. So let's see. Freeboard is normal. She's an oiler. We have 5-inch secondaries. We don't need these torpedoes. We still have a hell of a lot of weight to throw around here. Right. Her deck is insane. Okay, we could afford 15-inch belt. Turrets are looking fairly decent. Secondaries. Let's reduce their caliber. Make them the... well, I guess I can't even see them like that. We'll make them casemates then. Which is a shame that you can't see them. It's rather boring, but hey. I could drop a little bit of torpedo protection. This is true. So let's see, what do we do then? Do we reduce the torpedo protection, which does allow me to do other things? We could increase that to 6-inch caliber. Another knot of speed is not that expensive. I might want to put that into more ammunition. Oof, that doesn't really give us very much. Another 5 shots per gun, though, could make all that difference. Okay. Let's reduce the total number of secondaries and up the amount of armor. Their casemates, so we can drop secondary armor. We'll drop it to about 4. Turret tops need to be upped. The turrets aren't actually that well armored. Okay. Drop the caliber. Okay, there we go, we've increased that armor. Let's see, 3.5. I could choose 17 inches of belt. It's not really belt that matters too much anymore. Well, we've gained a few knots of speed there. I'm happy with that. Yeah, that'll do for me. There we go. We have the Magenta class. This is just an early interpretation of her. She'll probably be worked on in the future. But for now, she's doing okay. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this so far, and I hope again to see you soon. Goodbye for now.